In this game is amazing. Like, I generally expect games where you can make your own character to kind of have like customization like this and have an inventory like that. But when they gave you the party system and they were basically like, hey, you can have your own coat of arms, you can choose which faction you want, you can choose which party members you want, you can give them whatever you want that like you give to your character, you can customize them any way, you can give them armor that shows your coat of arms. I mean, I was like, man, this is awesome. But I mean, you could just probably add on that in like a Mount & Blade 2. I mean, of course, like they'd have to like rework the campaign map. I mean, this is just kind of like crappy, to be honest. Like, it serves its purpose, but I mean, it looks like it's in a beta stage, to be honest. But the combat, I mean, they could work on it. I mean, maybe make melee combat a little more interesting and not just a clusterfuck. I mean, sorry to say, but that's what it is. Especially with battles with like over more than 100 people. I mean, make melee a little more interesting, as in like, you don't just like press the parry button every time someone tries to attack you. I mean, I guess it could, use with a little more insight, but as it is, as a game, it's definitely worth a try. If you've ever looked at Mount & Blade and you were like, oh, this looks like a good game, but I don't know, man, like, I always wanted to try out the combat, but I don't know, like, it seems like it'd be a really confusing game or whatever. Well, it's really not. Like, if you've ever played an RPG, it's got enough RPG elements to just basically throw the battles in there. I mean, you really don't have to worry about stats or anything. Once you get up to a certain point, like I have, you pretty much kill everything in one shot. It's just trying to stay alive that's the problem, because there are just so many of them, and they eventually wear you all down if you don't have that big of a force. And as for progression-wise, like the end, like I said before, is basically you just get every city and you change it to your faction. And I read into it, and apparently once you say get every single city, you then can talk to like a claimant to the throne or whatever. They basically say, oh yeah, the current king is a fake, I should be the real king. And if you want, you can choose their side, and you basically become rebels, or you start a rebellion for the country you were previously serving. And you basically just do the same thing again, except your enemies to the nation you were working for or country you were working for before, and then you basically just take all the cities over again. And once you do that, okay, they apparently just kind of assumed no one would get to that point, I guess, but I have. I actually, my first save, I forgot about this, is I got there, okay, and I don't think I had taken every single city, but I had taken enough to start a rebellion. And I finally got to the end, and I kicked out the current king, and I obliterated all his forces or whatever. And I finally got to it, and it was just like, I talked to the claimant, and all it said was bracket, ERROR bracket. And that's literally what it was. It was error. Like, apparently whatever they were supposed to put there just wasn't there. I mean, it was such a letdown. I mean, it was like, oh, I finally finished this game. I mean, I've been playing forever. And then it was just like, by the way, error. I mean, it's like, trying to play like one of those 1970s, 1980 video games with all these horrible typos. It's like you just get to the end and it's like some terrible typo victory screen. I mean, I'm like, what a letdown, It's a terrible letdown. But I guess I was kind of spoiling the game for you. But I mean, to be honest, like I said before, if you think like I do, you're not really playing this game for the story. You're playing it for the combat, and if so, I really think you should try and pick up this game. And hey, I mean, if that's what you're into, like you're like a Total War series Total War series fan like I am, you've always wanted to like jumping down into the combat, then yeah, you should totally try out this game. It's the Street Man signing out. Later.